You know who was asked to respond to a grim warning from the Inspector General, and he reacted just like you think he would. Take a look.
The Inspector General for the Department of Health and Human Services released a report today, a survey of more than 300 hospitals across the country, and the #1 complaint from those hospitals were severe shortages of testing supplies and a really long wait time. I mean, a week or longer.
Did I hear the word Inspector General? Really? It's wrong.
When can hospitals expect to receive a quick turnaround of these test results?
Are you ready? You should say congratulations, great job, instead of being so horrid in the way you ask a question. How long has that person been in government? Could I ask you that?
Did serve in the previous administration.
Oh, you didn't tell me that. Oh, I see. You didn't tell me that, John. You didn't tell me that. Did serve in the previous administration. You mean the Obama administration. Thank you for telling me that. See, there's a typical fake news deal.
You asked me when she was appointed. I told you when she was appointed.
You're a third-rate reporter, and what you just said is a disgrace, okay?
Good Lord. Joining us live from D.C. is Chief White House correspondent and first-rate reporter, Jonathan Karl. Jonathan, oh my God. I mean, as we just saw, you know who lashed out at you and Fox News reporter Chris Fisher for asking about a recent HHS Inspector General report that has documents the lack of medical supplies and disorganized federal response over this pandemic. What was that? Was that more sleight of hand? Did he actually think she should not have asked that question?
Well, sometimes you get the sense that the president thinks every question should start with, why are you doing such a great job, Mr. President? But this was a question about a brand new report from the Health and Human Services Inspector General that was based on a survey of more than 300 hospitals. So this wasn't the Inspector General giving out an opinion. This was a survey of hospitals on how they are handling the pandemic. And what it found, among other things, is that there were long wait times to get test results back from laboratories, in some cases, a week or more. So that was the question. It's a really good question. One of the real problems with this response so far has been the way test results have lagged. And by the way, Whoopi, we know this. We know this as White House reporters. Yes. Because there was a case, as you know, I think we spoke about it, where one of our own, a fellow White House correspondent, was suspected to have coronavirus, took a test, and it took 8 days to get the results back. This is somebody that was working right there at the White House with access to the president, and even that took 8 days to get a test results back.
It's crazy. Megan?
John, this is Megan. First, I just want to say yesterday when I saw the press conference, I was horrified. I'm conservative. My husband runs and operates a conservative website. I work in conservative circles. You're the last journalist on planet Earth I would consider a hack. And the reason why you have the great reputation you do is because you are trusted by both sides. And I just think that is worth saying. I felt like I was getting wrapped into the drama yesterday, and Maggie Haberman tweeted, as long as Trump is fighting with reporters, he can attempt to shift the focus from where the government has lagged in its response. Do you think maybe this is a sort of wag the dog situation where it's easier to get in a fight with you than actually take responsibility for the horrible response to this virus?
Well, it has happened with alarming consistency. At virtually every one of these briefings, there is a moment where he lashes out in very personal terms at a reporter. He's done it to me now twice. He's done it to several of my colleagues. And, I don't know if it's strategic or if he is just truly consumed with how he is perceived. I've got this new book out that talks about how the president seems to see his entire presidency as, to a degree, the way he saw his reality show. He wants to see the reviews. He talks about the ratings all the time, and he's very much pays attention to the critics, which would be the press. And I have to say, I hear that he is spending a good chunk of each day complaining to his top advisors about the way his response to this crisis is being portrayed in the news media. He truly cares about this and is to a degree obsessed about it. So, you know, he lashes out, like I said, virtually every day in one of these briefings.
Jonathan, this is Joy speaking. How are you, dear? Good to have you back on the air.
Doing great.
You know, I watched that debacle yesterday, and I was furious when he called you a third-rate reporter. I wanted you to say, no, darling, you are a third-rate president. I want the reporters to call him out on his lying. I want the reporters to follow up on questions. And if you can't get a real good answer, the correct answer, I want you all to get up and walk out. That's what I want. Can you do that?
Well,
for me and for
well,
fellow
no,
Americans who are watching this in horror?
I understand what you're saying, but that's something that I would never do. I think it is my job to report on what is happening there, to ask the questions. By the way, I was following up on a question from a Fox News reporter when he decided to lash out at me. And I think that is my job. Whether or not they're carried live, I mean, we can have, that's a whole separate debate. But my job is to go there and put questions to him, and more importantly, to the people on his task force. And actually, the first question that I asked was not of the president, it was of Anthony Fauci. And the answer was kind of lost in the shuffle, but I think critically important. I asked him, until there is a vaccine which is not only created and tested, but widely available to everybody, can we truly get back to normal? And his answer was chilling. He said that we may never get fully back to the world that was pre-coronavirus. That threat will always be out there, and we're never really going to be able to let our guard down until that vaccine is available to everybody. And as you know, that's like a year and a half down the road. Now, that doesn't mean that we're not beginning to lift some of these restrictions, but that's why we go. We go to talk to the experts. We go to put the questions to the president as well, but to that team. And it may be frustrating. It may be tempting to walk out. Look, he can insult me all he wants. I don't care. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. What matters is getting to the bottom of what is happening with the federal response and how people should be responding to this crisis. That's the story.
I mean, a lot of presidents at this point, because I'm that old at this point. It's not, you should get up and say something. You're lying. That's not true. Just say it for us. Do what you have to do, Jonathan. What can I tell you? It's a depressing situation.
Yeah.